So here we are on a very misty morning. I'm going to give you a little twiddle round to have a look. Look, it's really misty this morning. It's when is it? It's September, 2nd of September, I think. So it's definitely feels like autumn today, despite not really having had much of a summer in the UK. So I'm out on you want to be glad there's no smelly vision this morning, because I decided to do my little workout at home and then just come out for a walk and share some stuff while I'm pottering. And now I'm walking on the grass and I can feel my feet again really wet. But anyway, I wanted to talk about emotions today because I just think this is really, really important. I've just been listening to a book called Busting Loose from the Money Game, and he has a little process in the book. Sorry, just going down a little hill here, which he shares, which is about sitting with emotions, and this is something I also recommend a lot to the people I work with. But I think perhaps it can sound really hard, let's just sit with an emotion. If you're feeling a horrible big emotion, and I'm going to use the word horrible because they don't feel nice in the body, do they? But I think that's partly because the mind has such a story about them, has such a story about emotions and what they're actually about. So that's the first thing. Let's just start with dispelling that thing about emotions and what they actually are. So an emotion is it's a movement of energy. Let's keep it that. I like the word emotion, and people actually talk about it being energy in motion. Brilliant, because that's exactly what it is. It's an energy moving around the body, shifting, changing, and it's 100% internally manufactured. So that's the first thing, because so often when we feel an emotion that we don't particularly like, and remembering that we've learnt to not like them. When we were little, you've seen the 2-year-old, haven't you, flitting from emotion to emotion. We didn't need to deal with emotions or fix them or anything. We just flowed through them, or they flowed through us, maybe. It's probably more accurate, isn't it? So that's the first thing, that they don't come from the outside world. They are nothing to do with the outside world. Don't even let the outside world kid you that it can either give you an emotional state or help you to suppress one, because it doesn't work that way. It's not possible to fix an emotion by doing anything in the outside world, or to experience a different emotion by doing something in the outside world. That's an illusion created by distraction, I think, really. So what happens if we feel an uncomfortable emotion and then we think we want to get rid of that, and then we do something? Of course, what's happened really is that the thinking that we were caught up in that caused the emotion is just not the thinking we're thinking about anymore. We're thinking about something else now, aren't we? We're thinking about the thing that we're doing, the chocolate bar we're about to eat, or the glass of wine, or the meditation even, or whatever it is we're doing in that moment. So that's important, I think, to see that that it's not to do with the outside world. I mean, it's just vital to see that, really. And what it really is it's an energy moving around the body, and it can't hurt you. Like, it's huge to see is that, it really is. And I did a live on Insight Timer recently, and I've talked about this a few times, but a few weeks ago I went to a stately home near my house, and there's a beautiful garden there, and there's a sort of river, a little stream really, probably not a river, a water feature flowing through the garden and across the garden and these stepping stones. Now the stepping stones, I don't know, I mean there's a bin here. Where's the bin? No, there's probably a bin. I mean, probably about as high as the bin, maybe a little bit higher above the water, like blocks of Yorkshire stone. The surface of which, you know, the surface you stand on, probably about the size of a pair of feet. I mean, my feet are pretty big, so but yeah, maybe a bit bigger than my feet, but adult feet size anyway. And I set off across these stepping stones and very quickly started to feel a huge amount of fear. I'm going to call it that. That's what it felt like. I don't know, and nor do I care really, where that's come from and what it's about and what it means about me, or did it happen in my childhood. I don't care about any of that really. Just there was a huge felt experience in my body of energy shifting quite rapidly and moving and creating what one of my clients used to call them angry butterflies in my stomach. You know, the sense of pretty unpleasant really. And anyway, I managed to get to the other side. Having got to the middle, I got to the middle. That was a big raindrop. I got to the middle. Is it actually raining now? Is it coming off the trees? Are we about to get wet, all of us together? It was, what was I saying? Lost the plot now. Anyway, yeah, got to the other side, got to the middle actually and thought, I'm going to stop, I'm going to turn around. Of course I couldn't turn around because that was even more scary. Got to the other side and my body was shaking, my hands were, you know, I held my hands out and they were, you know, properly shaking. Really uncomfortable. And I knew something had fallen away there, because I know that my previous response to that would have been, how can I, you know, what can I do to distract myself to get rid of this? You know, how can I get shut of it as quickly as possible? And I didn't do that. I just sat with it, stood with it. Actually, I didn't sit down. I got my fiance to just stand and I just held on to him because my legs felt so, my knees felt really weak by that point. So, excuse me. So I, just sat with it, just stood with it, just let myself feel it. Now, a client asked me the other day actually, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by just feeling it? Well, just... it's really difficult to describe when it's in your own body, but there is something about seeing that I'm not my body, and that then observing. It almost feels like internally looking down into into what's happening inside my body. That's what it feels like. It feels like an observation. And the amazing thing is that it went, you know. Ordinarily I would have distracted myself, got busy, done something else, but I stood and I felt it, and something in me shifted that day. I can't really explain it, but I just felt very different. Now I know that's my mind story about me feeling very different, but it felt like, I don't know, there's been some freedom, there's been some ease around things. There's been a lot of flow in my business and energy to do things and ideas that had been lacking a bit recently, to be fair, before the incident with the stepping stones. So this is going to involve some compassion towards yourself, like beginning to sit with emotions. I also often say, like, don't start in the, like, for me there was a big emotional charge there, which I'm, I don't experience that very often, to be honest. Maybe you do, but sitting with an emotion is what's transformational, because it's like, well, it's reality. And I think what happens when we actually feel a feeling, actually experience it, no judgment, no sense of it needing to go away, not doing this process so that I can make my emotion go away, but when we sit with a feeling, we transform. We just feel safer around our own emotions, and you know, when you realise that as a human being, your emotions are what's getting you to do or not do pretty much everything in your life. You know, that's what directs us, is our emotions. So when we learn to be with them, there's no longer this sense of being shoved around. And if that's to do with, for you, like, you know, finding more easy relationships or creating something in a business or work or a new career move or whatever it is, so often we can avoid moving forward, can't we, because of the fear of our emotions, because we don't want to feel that kind of thing. So yeah, so play with it really, and it, you know, if you need some help getting a sense of that, then reach out, you know, drop me a message, let me know, drop a comment perhaps, or reach out to me. You know, my website will be around here somewhere. Yeah, and let's talk, because it's huge. It's huge, this ability to sit with emotions. But the last thing I want to say is that it comes from a perspective shift. Whenever we think an emotion is a dangerous thing, we're going to really not want to sit with it or do what I'm suggesting here. The perspective shift kind of needs to come first. We need to see an emotion to be not what we thought it was, that it's something completely different than what we thought. So starting to get busy here this morning. I think some of the schools will be going back today, so it's starting to liven up. Traffic will get crazy again, won't it? So thank you so much for listening, watching, being with me on this journey. As I say, just reach out if it's feeling a bit sticky, and I'll be back again with another video soon. Take care, lots of love.